I want a feeling of harmony in the woods. I want things to feel like they blend in. I'm not trying to like disguise them, but I want them to fit. I don't want them to stand out and call attention to themselves. I'm very intentional about what I'm hoping to elicit from people that come here. And even right from the very start, when they see the sign, the road less traveled, I'm trying to set a tone, which is that this isn't what they're used to, and this is like a new thing to really embrace, which is all part of this feeling of like they're departing from their normal reality, so that when they finally do get to the parking spot and have to walk up to the treehouse, there's like a respect involved with nature and the appreciation of nature. I hadn't realized that it's so engineered, but I guess these were things that I was really thinking about because it's true. Is that it's very detailed.
The fact that you don't realize it means it's just part of you.
Yeah.
And how you do things.
Yeah.
So, yeah. When you're dissecting it on film, you're like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, I really did think about
I'm
this.
a conniving bastard. I'm a manipulative son of a... Now it makes sense. I mean, I like to make people feel like they're stretching their comfort zone a little bit, but I don't want them to feel imperiled or unsafe. You know, I say that before we go on the bridge of death. My artistic nature is manifested in these types of buildings that kind of blend utility and function and art and stability and impermanence, and all these things meld together for me. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the inspiration behind something like this. Is it satisfies all those things for me. It's organic. It blends in. It works.
Yeah, I see you as a this guy, VPR cup.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. It's mild. That door would have been good in my haunted house. So I wanted to have a bunch of windows here because I knew it was going to be a little dark. Tree houses can be kind of dark. And when I was looking for a spot, I have to kind of find 3 trees that work really well for me. And it was a bit of a stretch because it's a 40-foot span here. So I had to reach that 3rd tree. But it was a perfect spot because I also like to have the access either level or slightly downhill or something, so you can get into the treehouse without having to climb a bunch of stairs. And so the sudden drop worked with that. And then also this hillside, at certain times, especially in the spring, is just really beautiful. It's all full of moss and little ferns, and you can see the rock ledge. So that accounts for this long triangular shape here. And I try to duplicate this stuff too, like this wall. As I was building it, I started realizing, I'm getting a little too tight with all my walls being vertical. And so I decided to start leaning walls out. So this wall is leaned out like this, and upstairs the walls are leaned out, which is a bit of a hassle to do, but I like the effect. It kind of just further disorients you a little bit and makes you start to feel a little more like you're in a natural space instead of a very linear one. And the same thing with the furniture. I try to incorporate pieces from similar trees, and just, in the construction process, if I have to cut a tree down, I'll try to use it again in the tree house itself. This was a big piece of maple. This table is maple, and pretty sure this bench came from the same slab. And the same with the chairs. They're from pieces of maple trees. So I have queen size up there, a wide bed, and then another one here, and then a single here, and then this is my little nest bedroom over here. So this is the nest bedroom, and this kind of went through a couple different transitions, but basically this pad and this you need a sleeping bag, and you throw the pad out there and you can sleep out there. I pulled the pad in case you want to close this door to make it stay warmer in here. But originally when I made this nest bedroom, I was thinking it was going to be like you were really going to experience the tree, and I had made it so that it could pivot. I had a post that could pivot, and the whole bed would swing like this, and it was so scary making it. I thought, nobody's going to sleep out here because I can't even make this thing without being terrified. So I tightened it up so it doesn't move now. So it just stands there still. But it's nice because it's all screened in, and the light comes from the top too, so you really feel like you're sleeping outside. Yeah. I did make the sculpture, but no, this is Ed the Head. I don't know who he is. He was supposed to be friendly looking. I'm not sure if he looks so friendly or not. So yeah, this was not a living tree, and it wasn't here. It was another tree that I had cut down somewhere else. It's a poplar tree, so it's just sitting on the floor there. I always add things. I try to make it so you can't tell that they weren't there. This branch was not here, but I needed something to support it, and I had to kind of add to that branch to support it. Right. Well, sometimes I have to cut things to get them in, and then I regret it later. I think, oh, I wish I would have left that branch longer. And so now we're on level 2. So we're on the roof of where we came in. So this is your bedroom, Palmer.
Oh, perfect.
It's a little cramped. It's a standing bed.
Is this the loo?
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Look at that view.
Yeah, I get mixed responses with that. I mean, most everybody likes it, but I like to just mess with them because the first thing they think is the lack of privacy, and then they realize how silly that is because they're up 15 feet up in the tree, and who's going to see them? A chipmunk or a squirrel? And hopefully that, chipmunk and squirrel doesn't have your equipment. So we got a little toilet here. We got the night light, and the light comes on here. You can turn on, and then you lift the lid, and that's your toilet. You sit down, and there's toilet paper under the can here. And then you have wood shavings with a little scoop to pour in after you use it, and that's it. No flush. Yeah. You can make a little flushing noise if you want. So and then the exterior, it's kind of a twofold thing. It appeals to my sense of thrift, which I can get all these slabs are basically stuff that gets thrown away at a sawmill. They take the log and they slice off the sides until they make a block, and then once they make a block, then they slice square boards out of it. And I use them artistically too because I want to highlight certain ones. They keep this color, and sometimes they keep the bark on them, so they kind of blend in with the trees around, and just the irregular shapes of them make your eye kind of glance over them and not just suddenly go like that. So it makes the transition of nature and building a lot smoother, I think, which is what I want. I want a feeling of harmony in the woods. I want things to feel like they blend in. I'm not trying to disguise them, but I want them to fit. I don't want them to stand out and call attention to themselves. Yeah, they all have they have a function, but they also have artistic aspect as well. Like this, for example, this becomes a door handle to open the door if you want. It becomes a visual barrier so that you don't knock your head through the window, because if you see opening, you might think it's clear to stick your head through, but that tells you not to. And it also takes away some of the rigidness of this door, which is a used door. I needed an actual door. So, when I put the door there, it just felt like it just stood out too much. So this kind of softens that door feeling, and it starts to help it blend in with the rest of the building. There's a utility to everything somehow that it doesn't have to be used that way, but there's this maybe isn't a good example, but maybe this one, it's like, so this one is, the utility of this is not just visual, but it's a doorstop. So it keeps the door from slamming against this metal thing here. And so it stops it, right? This one is you could hang like a coat or a backpack or something like that on there if you wanted. And they're nice and strong, I make them nice and solid, just like a tree would have solid branches. Whether it gets used for that or whether it's just a visual thing, either way is fine. I mean, there's examples all over the place. There's a towel hook right here, that, and the lid for the toilet is a branch that curved a little bit, so you can put your hand on it. This branch here, which I really like the curviness of this branch. It came from a friend's house in his woods. And I put it here, and it wasn't strong enough, but it was the size I wanted, but because of the length, it just didn't have enough strength to really feel like it would do anything. So then I take another branch, and I attach it to here, and use the natural crotch of that branch, and secure it here, and here, and here. And now it's a nice solid, before it would have gone, ooh, so it's nice and solid like that. And then going up the stairs, a nice solid, that could hold my whole weight. And this, and then there's one right here at the top of the steps. And then there's also one here too. This whole area is a nice sitting area, and you can sit at the table and play cards or something. And this is my sunrise sunset bench here in the morning, like now. The sun rises this way, and especially later in the fall when the leaves have come off the tree more, you really get a nice sunrise spot here. It's very, very peaceful and reflective. And then some kids call this the roller coaster seat because it's got this rail here. I wanted to make sure it was safe. So this is the sunset bench, and because the sun sets over that way, and it's a nice feeling here too. So when I made this bridge, I wanted it to be, sometimes you do a project and it turns out just the way you want it. And this turned out just the way I wanted it to, which is I wanted it to be useful because I wanted a second egress from the treehouse, but I didn't want it on the same level. And I wanted it to be interesting and connect with the whole space, but I also wanted it to be a little bit scary, like I wanted to feel of like Indiana Jones type of thing. But I wanted it to be really safe too. So that's why I put the safety thing is this fencing here. It's basically impossible to fall out of this unless you tried to jump over the side. So if you tripped and fell, you're not going to roll off and fall. So you're safe. And these cables are super strong. They're galvanized 5/8 inch cables. They're like elevator cables. They could carry so much more weight than this. And so the whole bridge does move. And these planks are locust, so they're not going to rot, and they're nice and thick, so they're nice and strong. But I made sure that they had some check lines in them, and that they're meandering, so people get a little nervous about the openings, the cracks in them and stuff. And it makes nice creaking sounds too, which you want. So I personally feel like one of my favorite things about being up here is actually this shower, because I just love, it's a cold shower, it's just cold. And I love cold showers, but I really love cold showers out in the woods like this, where you kind of get a blast of cold and you're like, oh, but it like wakes you up and it really puts you in touch with everything, I feel like. So this has been a big plus for me, and it's kind of it actually has some personal history where I went one time on a trip down to the Yucatan Peninsula, and there was a place right on the beach that had been made out of all sorts of driftwood, a shower that was made out of driftwood. And I remember thinking, I love that shower so much. The only problem with that shower was it had a roof and it was really dark. That was the only thing I didn't like about it. So this one, I tried to compensate by not having no roof.
So how, for the more techie people that are interested, how does the water get out, all the way out here?
Well, very low tech. How about low techy people? You got any of them? Because yeah, everything around here is very low tech. So basically, I have in the pavilion, I have a big tank of water that I pump from my well to it. I have a line that goes from the tank through the ground here. It's just a black plastic line, and then it comes up this piece of wood here and goes in, and then you open the spigot and the water just comes out, just gravity. So we're heading to the pavilion, which is the kitchen area, and I part of my thinking with this whole treehouse compound was not putting everything in the treehouse itself. Partly because it would have to be hugely big to accommodate like cooking area and eating area and a sleeping area and a living area, and so it would just be way too big, and it would just look ridiculous in a tree. And so I also wanted people to experience the woods by kind of forcing them to have to go from place to place too. So it wasn't right next to them, and so that's what all the paths are about. Yeah, so this is the pavilion. This is where people cook, and there's everything that you could need for cooking. We got pots and pans and mixing bowls and utensils and cups and glasses and cooking trays, and then you got the fridge and the freezer and dishes and plates. So you can have a big cook-a-thon here, and you can sit at this nice big table, and that's an acorn. This time of year they start falling. Unfortunately, they do fall through my clear roof here. As you can see, it's been patched many times. They just shoot right through it. You're here, and the rest of the space is the woods, and it's outside, and so it's easy peasy. You have them over for dinner, and they come down and
take the leaf blower out.
Yeah, right. Let me prepare the table. Yeah. Yeah, it's the only kitchen that a leaf blower is one of the utensils. So Palmer, we came through just to give you a connective sense of it, because it gets a little confusing with all these angles and stairs and bridges and stuff. We came across the bridge there, and we came into the lower section, which was the living room area. And then we went up the spiral staircase, which is back in that corner. And there's the bedrooms up there. And then that's the nest bedroom with the branches on the outside. And below that is the bathroom, the toilet. This is all the living deck here, where you can be up here, and you can sit at the table. You can sit on the chairs, and we're on the roof of the living space below. We spend so much time in these houses that are not natural. They're big, square, and have tons of room. If you thought about how much room you actually need, it's not much. I mean, you need a place to sleep, you need a place to sit, but I mean, what else do you do with all that space?